We have been sold a toxic lie about success. We are taught that achieving greatness is a test of moral fortitude. We are told that if you hit the snooze button, scroll on your phone instead of studying, or skip the gym, you are simply weak. You lack the hustle. You lack the grind. This narrative isn't just exhausting. It is biologically backward. The truth that high performers understand, and the rest of the world ignores, is that relying on raw willpower is a guaranteed strategy for failure. You are not fighting a lack of character. You are fighting millions of years of neurological evolution, and evolution does not lose. To understand why you fail, you have to understand your hardware. Your brain was not designed to build stock portfolios, write novels, or sculpt six-pack abs. It was forged in an era of brutal scarcity. Its prime directive is singular: survive. To a prehistoric brain, survival means two things. First, hoard energy by doing as little as possible. Second, seek instant dopamine by consuming high-calorie, high-reward resources immediately. When you try to sit down and do 3 hours of deep work, your brain registers it as an uncompensated drain on your energy reserves. It rebels. It points you toward your phone because social media delivers a massive dopamine spike for zero caloric effort. You aren't lazy. You are functioning exactly as a highly efficient, energy-conserving organism should. The problem is that we are running prehistoric software in a 21st century world that demands relentless, long-term focus. So how do we bridge the gap? We stop playing the brute and we start playing the architect. When you try to force yourself to do hard things through sheer willpower, you are playing the brute. You are trying to swim upstream against the raging river of your own biology. Eventually, your arms will give out and the river will sweep you away. The most consistent, successful people in the world do not swim upstream. They redirect the river. They act as architects. They understand that real discipline is not about having a stronger mind. It is about designing a smarter environment. They manipulate their surroundings so that the most productive choice is also the path of least resistance. If you are procrastinating, it is not a personality defect. It is an engineering flaw in your environment. You have made the bad habits too frictionless and the good habits too heavy. To fix this, you must run a friction audit on your daily life based on 4 basic principles. First, make it inescapable through your line of sight. Your brain interacts with what it sees. If your guitar is in a case in the closet, it doesn't exist, so put it on a stand in the middle of the room. Second, use a dopamine lure to make it magnetic. Pair the hard thing with a guaranteed pleasure, like only listening to your favorite podcast while doing the dishes, or only drinking your premium coffee while reviewing your budget. Third, find the path of least resistance to make it effortless. Shrink the barrier to entry by not committing to a 5-mile run, but committing to just putting on your running shoes. Finally, establish an immediate payoff to make it rewarding. Your brain needs a receipt for its hard work. Track your progress visually, as the satisfaction of crossing a red X on a calendar is often enough to satisfy the brain's need for closure. Even with a perfect environment, starting a new behavior is heavy. It takes a massive amount of cognitive fuel to break inertia. The hack is to avoid starting from a standstill. Your day is already filled with automated behaviors, like brushing your teeth, locking the door, or turning on the coffee maker. You do these things without thinking. You can hijack these deeply ingrained loops to build new habits through a concept known as momentum tethering. Instead of creating a new habit in a vacuum, tether it to an old one. For example, tell yourself that after you pour your morning coffee, which acts as the anchor, you will read exactly 2 pages of your book, which becomes the tether. Or decide that after you shut down your work laptop, you will immediately put on your gym clothes. You are essentially building an exit ramp off a highway your brain is already driving on. The momentum of the old habit carries you effortlessly into the new one. There is a dangerous myth that to be disciplined, you must learn to love the process. You must wake up at 5 a.m., stare at the mirror, and scream with motivation. This is a cinematic fantasy. The most productive people on Earth don't necessarily love waking up early. They don't always feel like training. They haven't achieved a Zen state of perpetual motivation. What they have done is stripped the emotion out of the equation entirely. They have built systems so robust that execution is inevitable. When the alarm goes off, the clothes are already laid out, the coffee is preset, and the workout partner is waiting. To back out would require more energy and friction than simply doing the task. They don't rise to the level of their motivation. They fall to the level of their systems. You do not need to love the work. You just need to make the work unavoidable. All of these strategies, ecosystem design, friction audits, and momentum tethering, are incredibly powerful, but they all serve one master purpose, which is identity change. Superficial change asks what you want to achieve, while transformational change asks who you want to become. Every action you take is a data point. It is a vote cast on the ledger of your identity. When you decline the junk food, when you sit at the keyboard for just 5 minutes, or when you choose the book over the screen, you are not just ticking off a to-do list. You are gathering undeniable evidence that you are the type of person who does exactly what they say they will do. Behavior follows belief. When you stop telling yourself you are trying to be healthy and start operating under the absolute fact that you are an athlete, everything shifts. Athletes don't agonize over whether to train. Training is simply what they do. It is their default state. You don't need to be harder on yourself. You don't need to search for a hidden reserve of willpower. You just need to set the board so that winning is the only logical move. Stop fighting your biology. Start designing your reality.